Kia ora everybody and welcome back to Civilization 6. Today I'm covering Kupe of the Maori Empire, and as a New Zealander I have to say I feel right at home, although Kupe is one of the more interesting and dynamic leaders in the game. So let's delve straight in, and you'll see on screen immediately something strange about Kupe is that Kupe and the Maori have no starting bias technically. However, Kupe's voyage means that initially your settler and warrior will start their journey in the middle of the ocean, with no land tiles in sight. You'll also gain some culture and science per turn while you don't have a city founded. This means you can take a few turns, like I'm doing here, to scout out the area, to sail around, and investigate really where you want the ideal start position for you to be. It also means you can consider things like continents. Perhaps you discover a new continent and settle on that, and then settle your other cities elsewhere to make the most of continental bonuses that are available later in the game. That's Kupe's voyage in a nutshell, Kupe's very unique starting position, and there are some other elements that play into it too, so I'll move into those as I discuss mana. Mana is a really compounding and strange ability for the Maori Empire. It springs from, fun fact, and a real word in Maori, which sort of means something quite sort of widespread. So mana, we would generally think of mana as something like spiritual power, authority, and respect. Those words tend to encompass mana. So what does it mean in the game? Well, for starters, you will start the game with sailing and shipbuilding unlocked. That's really, really strong because you'll be able to embark all of your units from turn one. Now, obviously, we saw that with the warrior and the settler, but it's true for any other unit you produce. You will be a king of the seas in the early game and actually right the way through because Kupe has some other very interesting and compounding abilities with that. So, not only can all of your units enter not just shallow but ocean tiles, but they'll also receive +5 combat strength and +2 movement. And you will have noticed that at the start of the game. It is very quick for you as Kupe to move your units around the map. You can move very quickly. You can quickly scout areas, scout new lands, find your opponents, find natural wonders, which will be great for your era score, +1 or +3 if you're the first to find it, and also +5 era score for being the first player to circumnavigate the globe. That is to figure out that, oh my goodness, the Earth is round. Controversial? Not really. Anyway, if you're the first to circumnavigate the globe, you get +5 era score. That's really strong for Kupe because he starts embarked with that additional movement, right? So, I mean, it makes sense that you should try and circumnavigate the globe first to get that nice era score bonus. But the fun doesn't stop there with Kupe's insane, innate abilities, that is Kupe's voyage and mana. Let's cover a little bit more. So, as I said at the start of the game, you start with sailing and shipbuilding unlocked, very strong. You are also able to build fishing boats from the start. Now, if you manage to find turtles on a reef, that is the absolute best thing you can do. But the fact that you can build shipping boats from the start is wonderful and synergizes with Kupe's culture bomb ability with his fishing boats, okay? So building a fishing boat triggers a cultural bomb. What that means is when you send the fishing boat out to a tile, like pearls or turtles or whale or what have you, and improve that tile, the surrounding tiles are quote-unquote culture bombed, which brings them into your area. So you end up expanding your territory very, very quickly through the power of fishing boats. And you can see here in this meme of a capital city of mine, Scientopia, that I've got lots of resources. And look at the yields on them. Look at that turtle. Look at that. I mean, that was insane. It was 5 food, 2 production, a gold, a science, and it gets better as the game goes on. So don't underestimate the power of your fishing boats. Not only are they just innately great, but they also provide that wonderful culture bomb. Okay, so really, really important. The second main part of Kupe's strategy, and the part that will lead you toward either a faith, but probably a culture and tourism victory, is Kupe's conservation and naturalist tendencies. Again, these synergize with the Maori worldview in real life of being guardians and protectors of nature, of finding innate value in nature and really cherishing that. And we see that captured so well by the developers of this game in Kupe's ability to respect and have this sort of symbiotic shared benefit from nature. So, unimproved woods and rainforests grant +1 production. That's increased to +2 production with mercantilism, and +3 production once you unlock conservation in the civics tree. Okay? I also forgot to mention, just quickly, your fishing boats also do provide 1 more food. Forgot to mention that before. Just a nice to know. But anyway, those unimproved woods and rainforest tiles will be providing you up to +3 production as the game moves on. So really important for you to value nature and probably leave those tiles alone if you can. Okay? I would really recommend doing that. So, building on that a little bit more, there are each lumber mill, your lumber mills will provide you with +2 production from the get-go, and then as you move through mercantilism conservation, you'll see that expand more and more and more and more. One of the downsides to Maori in terms of resources is that you can't harvest them, so you can't instantly harvest stone or copper or wheat or cattle or crabs or what have you. That means that those resources will effectively block placement for wonders and districts in the future because you can't remove them altogether. So if, like me, you're settling on small islands and making the most of sea resources, which you should do, just bear in mind that if you do have anything like a stone on your land, you can't get rid of it to build a district. So do just keep that in mind, okay? Don't confuse it, however, with clearing features like marsh or woods or rainforest. You can still clear those as normal, but something to bear in mind, okay? We've already gone through the fishing boats, but they do get really absurd, and I will just touch on them just briefly again. Tiles like a reef can potentially provide you with 6 production, food, 5 gold, 2 science, a faith, and 1 culture as you move through the game, and then as you push right through things like aquariums and seaports, your sea yields can get pretty ridiculous, especially when you start building those biodomes at the end of the game through one of the governors. Then you're really getting insane. The final thing that I should probably go through before I move on to the Māori's unique tile improvement and unit, which I put towards the end of the strategy guide for a reason, is the prohibition of great writers for Māori. So since a couple of years ago, Māori are unable to produce great writers, and those points are converted into faith. Okay, so all of your theatre squares will generate a little bit of faith without even building any faith buildings, but the downside is, as Māori, you cannot have great writers, okay? So just a small thing to bear in mind. Now, quickly, before I finish off this video, it is really important that we consider the Māori's unique buildings and tile improvements, okay? So, Māori unique tile improvement is essentially a fort, so I won't spend too long delving into it. It's called the pa. It provides a small defensive bonus, and also occupying units will automatically gain 2 turns worth of fortification when they stand in it, and an occupying Māori military unit will heal regardless of whether it takes any action or not that turn. So it is a nice improvement to the fort, but you may not use it that often. Māori's unique unit is the Tor. It's very, very similar to the Indians' unique unit in terms of statistics, if you're familiar with it. The upside is the Tor can also build that pa, that fort improvement, okay? So not only is it a slightly improved warrior, but it can also build that improvement. You can kind of think of it like sort of similar in a way to the Roman Legion, but earlier in the game. Finally, the Māori have a marae, again very true to life, as their unique building. Māori are able to build the marae in a theatre square, and so you should probably try to build a theatre square in every city, particularly with passable features. These are features that you can move through, so not mountains, but things like woods, rainforest, marshes, reefs, floodplains, geothermal fissures, and some natural wonders as well, okay? You should try and build your theatre squares in every city with those passable features, because those passable features provide you with more rewards down the track. Okay, so it is important to consider your tiles, consider your features, and play around it where possible, because you will get some additional benefits from them. So the marae works quite differently from the amphitheatre in that respect, mainly because of its significantly increased yields, though, okay? These things are big. So do beeline drama and poetry. It's a possibility to get the stronger marae yields sooner, so it might be something that you want to investigate. And then you might as well head to political philosophy after that. So maraes provide additional culture and faith, okay? That's fundamentally what they do. So basically, because you're guaranteed to almost always spawn near a coast, you'll probably have a significant amount of ocean in your land, right? But then with your land tiles, you do get those production benefits from leaving them unimproved, which is wonderful. But also, it's important to remember that when you build the marae is also expanding on and adding value to those tiles, okay? So maraes provide +1 culture and +1 faith per passable tile feature in the city for your woods tiles, your rainforest tiles, your marsh tiles, so on and so forth. Leaving them unimproved will also benefit your production later on. So there's real value in having unimproved land tiles. That, of course, synergizes with national parks and conservation, and you can see a picture being built here. And I hope that as I've gone through this video and talked about it, talked through this guide, you've understood what Maori are all about. Maori are a very unique civilization, a very unique empire in this game. You'll probably be playing a slightly more pacifist game. You'll be expanding the oceans. You'll probably really want to focus on your tourism, your culture, and a little bit of faith generation on the side as well. And your synergies with protecting the environment, with leaving tiles unimproved, but really, really focusing on working those sea tiles and sea resources and building up your unique amphitheaters should guide you through to a really wonderful and really unique and dynamic victory with Maori under the leadership of Kupe in Civilization 6. Hey, thanks so much for watching this guide. If you liked it, please do leave a like rating. It makes such a massive difference to the channel. And until next time, I'll catch you then.